What's going on, y'all? This is TheCoolTeacher back, and I think I'm gonna do a part 2 to my proportions video, mainly because proportions, they can seem easy at first and they can get kind of like hard looking. They're not really that difficult or not that hard, but it looks like it'd be very hard. Now let me go ahead and explain to you what I'm talking about. Let's pick out a problem here. Definitely not the color I wanted. Let's go ahead, get the regular standard. All right. So let's I'm gonna do Q plus 2 over 5 equals 2Q minus 11 over 7. Now this looks a whole lot different than just two fractions that are equal to each other, but this is still a proportion, and we can still solve this very easy using the same exact method that we've used before. Okay, so if you remember from my first video, which I'll go ahead and link above, that talked about proportions, we have to go ahead and cross multiply. Okay, so when I cross multiply, basically I'm multiplying the denominator for one side, the bottom number, to the numerator of the other side, top number. Okay, or top terms in this case, because it's more than just one number. And the bottom number on the right side, the denominator, to the top terms of this side, okay, of the numerator of the other side. All right, hopefully you're following the cursor every time I say this side and that side. Okay, not just listening, you gotta listen and look. All right, listen and look. All right, so when I do that, I'm going to show you basically when I multiply what it's going to look like. So this is basically I'm going to drop my equal sign just so I know how much space I have. So I have Q, let's close that up. I have Q plus 2. Well, hold on. I'm going to change up the format and I'm going to let you know why in just a minute. I don't want it like this. I'm going to do 7 times Q plus 2. Now I'm going to let you know why I did that. It doesn't matter how we do it, but I just prefer it this way because it's easier to me. And you should always do math that's easier to you. Okay? And this is 5 times 2Q minus 11. Alright, the reason that I did this is because this is 7 being multiplied by Q plus 2, and this is 5 being multiplied by 2Q minus 11. Now, if you know anything about your properties in math, this shows me the distributive property. The distributive property means that whatever's on the outside of this parentheses is going to be distributed to the inside of the parentheses by multiplication. So that means this is going to be 7 times Q and also 7 times 2. Almost round, right? Alright, and this is going to be 5 times 2Q and 5 times 11. Okay, so when I go ahead and do all of this, I'm going to get 7Q plus 14 equals 10Q minus 55. Just like we did in our earlier proportion video, it turns it into an equation. So proportions get turned into equations, and equations we go ahead and solve. Okay, now this is an equation with variables on both sides, and I'm gonna go ahead and link that video above so you can go ahead and see how that's done, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it here just to go ahead and finish off the video. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is I always want just one variable when I'm solving an equation. So since I only want one variable, I'm gonna get rid of the least variable. This side has 7Q, this side has 10Q. Well, 7 is less than 10, so I'm going to get rid of this one. And how do I get rid of it? I have to subtract. Okay. The reason I'm subtracting because I want to get rid of it. Remember, if I divide, I'll have 1. I don't want 1, I want none. So I'm going to get rid of it by subtracting because this is a positive 7. So to get rid of a positive 7, I have to take 7 away. So that's my first step. And when I do that, this is going to cancel out. I'm going to drop down my 14, my positive 14 that is. Then I have 10 minus 7. That gives me 3q. And I'm going to bring down my negative 55. Okay? Alright, from here I have a regular two-step equation. Forgot how to do a two-step equation. I'm going to link that above, just in case you might have forgotten. But let's go ahead and solve it here. Now, remember now that I only have one variable, I want to get that variable by itself. So anything that's on the side with that variable, I got to get it off. Okay? So how do I get this by itself? Well, first I have to get rid of any constants, any numbers that's by themselves. Remember, think of working the order of operations backwards. Okay? So that leaves addition and subtraction first. So since I see subtraction, I have to get rid of it with the inverse operation, which means I'm going to add 55. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do it to the other. Actually, I forgot to say that up here too. That's why I did minus 7q on both sides. Whatever I do to one side, do it to the other. Sorry, forgot, my bad. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now when I do that, what I'm going to get, ooh, lines are getting mad squiggly around here. Alright, so when I do that, this negative 55 and these positive 55, that cancels out. Then I get 3q. I'm going to drop that down. I'm going to drop down my equal sign. Then I have 14 plus 55. 4 plus 5 is 9. 1 plus 5 is 6. Alright? So, I have 69 equals 3q. Now I have my variable almost by itself. There's a 3 with this q. I don't want a 3 with that q. So since this shows me multiplication, I have to divide. And I have to divide by whatever number is on the equal sign. I mean, whatever number is on the side with the variable. That didn't make any sense. Alright, so what I'm going to do is divide both sides by 3. And when I divide both sides by 3, what's going to happen? Well, these 3's are going to cancel out because 3 divided by 3 is 1, leaving me with just 1q, which you see there. Then I have 69 divided by 3. Anybody thinks they know what that is? Jeopardy music plays, Jeopardy music plays. And if you don't have it yet, that answer is going to be 23. So 23 equals q. And let me see if I have enough space. And that is my answer. 23 equals q, or q equals 23. Okay? Now, if you wanted to be all big and bad and check it, you can plug that 23 back into here and plug this back into here. Or you can plug this 23 right back into the equation and it should equal out. If it doesn't, that means you did something wrong. Alright? But I just wanted to go ahead and do part 2 because I know how confusing this looks. But actually, it's not that confusing at all. Pretty easy. Alright? If you have any questions, go ahead and comment down below with a question. Go ahead and share this with whoever you want. And that's about it. I'm about to get back on the PlayStation. This is the Cool Teacher, and I'm out.